Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar event with Maribeth Kuzmeski. We're happy to have you all here with us, and my name is Chad Gray, for those that don't know me and haven't been on a webinar before. I'm a product marketing manager here, and I'll be kind of hosting and moderating and kind of running the show. We're happy to have Maribeth with us. She's done several webinars for us, and we're always happy and glad to have her share some information from the field with us. So thank you all for being here. For those who haven't been on a webinar before with us, we have a chat function here to the right. If you would like, it'd be awesome to have you all kind of chime in where you're tuning in from and what it is that you teach, as well as let us know if you've been on a webinar before with Maribeth, and maybe if you remember which one it was. We'd be curious to know what it is that when you've attended with us before. So again, let us know where you're from and what you teach, just so we can get to know each other. Maribeth's the first one. Perfect. Awesome. I'll share where I'm tuning in from. So I am based out of Utah, Orem, Utah, and that's where I work remote for Stu Kent. So if anyone's familiar with the Orem area, that's where I live and work. So looks like we got some people from UNC in the athletic department, compliance. Awesome. Red from Utah at San Antonio. Oh, UT. Sorry, UT at San Antonio, University of Texas. Jackie Duvall, Nancy. Awesome. Compliance office. Okay. Alex teaches digital marketing, marketing analytics, and social media marketing. Awesome. Glad to have you here, Alex. Red corrected me. He said Texas in all caps. Sorry about that. Let's see. Awesome. Looks like we have a good crowd here. Red, and I'm sorry. I apologize for calling you.
Don't mess up Texas. Do not mess up Texas.
Sorry about that. Okay, great. Thank you all for being here. This is awesome. It seems like we have a good crowd today, very active. This is going to be a great webinar. We're excited. The NCAA, as you all know, came out with recent new updates to guidelines. So Maribeth, being the closest thing we have to our in-house expert, right, for NIL, she's always happy to share the insights from this ever-changing topic of NIL. So, but before we get into her presentation, I wanted to invite you all to ProfCon, which is, if you're not familiar, it's a digital marketing a marketing conference for educators. And so let me just pop that up real quick right here. Share now. There we go. This is our event that we host at Stu Kent, and the first year we did it, it was in person in West Yellowstone City, and ever since then we haven't been able to get back in person because of COVID, and we've done it for, this is probably our fourth or fifth year doing it, and this year is unique because we will be doing it in person in Idaho Falls, which is going to be awesome. It's going to be 2 or 3 full days of presentations and activities and workshops and all that stuff. So if you're interested in continuing education and getting those credits, go ahead and check it out and register. And it's going to be an awesome event. We got a lot of things planned for it. It'll be in June of 2023, so you have some time. But if the earlier you register, the cheaper it is, and there's some other incentives and things that go along with that. So go ahead and check it out. It's going to be awesome, and we're excited to be hosting that. So, and then one other plug while we're here. Maribeth Kuzmeski is our author of our NIL personal branding courseware, and that's kind of why she's kind of the expert here and everything. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look at that, go ahead and click the button here, take a look, and get into it. Look at the resources, check out the assignments. It's an awesome courseware, and I'm not sure exactly, but Maribeth probably will touch on it a little bit. We'll see. If you have questions, you can certainly ask her as well. So That is all I have. Thanks for bearing with me, everyone. That only took about 5 minutes. So without further ado, I'll give a little intro to Maribeth. She has been on here before. So if you've been on a webinar, you definitely know who she is. But she's a professor at the Spears School of Business at Oklahoma State, where she started the brand squad at Oklahoma State, which is a club, a group of students who kind of act as an agency for the school, for the student athletes there. And she's also is the president of Red Zone Marketing, which is a marketing agency, award-winning consulting firm. She's awesome. She does it all. So without further ado, Maribeth, I'll let you kind of take over and run the show here. So.
Okay. So let's see if I can share this. I'm having trouble sharing it. I don't know why.
I can see it just fine.
You can see it?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm not sure why I can't see it. Sorry, everybody. Technical problems. I literally cannot see it. So
let me see it on my end, if I can pop it up for you. Still nothing?
No.
So you just see me and you on your screen?
That's all. That's all I see. I'm so sorry.
Interesting. Wonder if do you want to share your screen on your computer?
I could do that, sure.
Okay. There's just a button at the bottom. Sorry, everyone. Technical difficulty.
Yeah, sorry. This is a great start to this presentation. Yeah. This is awesome.
There's a button to the right next to the turn camera off that says start sharing screen when you're ready.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull this up.
Sorry about this, everyone. You'd think we'd be experts at Zoom meeting calls, but
not exactly, I guess.
There's always something.
So I can share. Let's see. How do I share?
It's in the bottom next to turn camera off. It says start sharing screen.
Okay.
I can see that now.
Yeah, but I can't. I'm so sorry. I don't know.
If you want, you could like look at the slides on your end, and I can control them. If that makes sense. So like if you look at the PowerPoint from your side.
No, I think I got this. Let's
okay.
See here. You know, I think what happened was we had an update to our computers here, and I think that's what happened.
Technology.
Yep.
While we're figuring that out, has anyone here heard of the Brand Squad at all? Or is anyone familiar with it or unfamiliar? Awesome. He's only a friend when it goes as planned. It's true.
Okay, so I am going to try to share this. So can you see this?
No.
Okay, why don't you share this presentation and I'll just walk through it.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, we're on slide 1. Just tell me where to go and I'll...
Okay, and now I can see it. So this is just great.
Perfect.
But basically what I wanted to share, with this new guidance that the NCAA put out a week or so ago, I started to get a lot of comments and questions from professors, from people at universities. And I would like to preface this by saying, I am not a lawyer. I am not in the compliance department at the athletic department. I definitely do not, I'm not an expert in the compliance laws, but I can tell you from the standpoint of an educator who's consulted with our compliance department at Oklahoma State, what we are doing and kind of how I am acting and interacting because of these guidelines, because of, what's sort of happened. And it looks like I can change the slides even, so we're good now. Okay, so the first thing in this guidance, there are basically 4 sections to the guidance. And I think the overall thing, which is the most important thing that we saw in this guidance, is that they want education. They actually want education, can and should provide education to athletes. And one of the things that is also running through this guidance is, providing education to student athletes, providing whatever you're going to provide to student athletes, provide those same things to the regular student body. So that's the direction that we've taken, meaning that we offer the NIL personal branding class to anyone, not just student athletes. So that gives us but we've always done that. And that's always been an NCAA guideline where you can't just offer a class just for student athletes. This class is geared for student athletes, but we have a lot of influencers or other people, brand squad members who are in the class as well. So this is for all. But the other thing was, the guidance has suggested that it's not just, branding, it's financial and taxes and entrepreneurship and all of those things, as long as that education is provided to the whole student body. And so for us in the brand squad, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but, we look at it like we really serve everybody. The class serves everybody, and it's okay to continue along the path that we're continuing on. There are some ways that we've got to measure ourselves and make sure that we're not violating any of these things. But the athletic department at Oklahoma State is very specific about following these rules. So we are not looking for gray area at all. We are looking for how do we follow these to the letter of the law as best as we can possibly interpret that. And that's, another issue. They put the guidelines out, but there's still questions, right? But education is the biggest thing. And I think that was something that we took a deep breath on, because we are teaching our student athletes and we are teaching our students about personal branding. We're actually starting a new course called Influencers, which is using the same text. It's the same information, but we're doing that because it's really the same thing. How do you take your brand and put it out to the world and actually maybe make some money from doing that? And so we feel like we are completely within the guidelines as it relates to point number 1. So section number 2, and I'm sure all of you have seen these guidelines, or if you haven't, we can get you the link, but it's very easy to find this stuff online. But this is the guidelines when it relates to involvement. So education, we love that. Involvement, this is where it gets a little bit more sticky. So it says no one within athletics can assist in the execution of NIL activity, including creating graphics, promotional material. Now, we do all of these things in the brand squad. And again, we'll talk about that in a second, but we do it for anyone. We had someone who is starting, trying to support a charity, and she wants to create t-shirts, and she created her own logo, and she's not a student athlete. And guess what? We are helping her sell that online. So we are helping whomever wants to be helped in this space. So we feel like we're okay because we are really, and we have been working with athletes and non-athletes at Oklahoma State. We also have a marketing club that interacts with our students as well, and not necessarily with the student athletes, but we feel combined that we are really providing not any special treatment for our student athletes as it relates to this. They happen to be more interested in it than everyone else, but we're providing that type of guidance. Okay, so let's see. Red says, so if it's free supplemental instruction, it must not be exclusive to student athletes. That's right. We do not have, well, we do have supplemental instruction, but we have a course that anyone can take, student athletes or anyone else. We actually have student athletes in the brand squad, and we have students in the brand squad. And so it kind of goes both ways, but we do not provide anything that we do not provide in general to the student body. Okay, So let's see. Gerald says, how does the course fit into the student's degree plan? So the course is, if you're a marketing major, it's in the marketing department. So it could apply for an elective. It's the same thing for if you're not in the business school and you're not in the marketing department, you're not a student that's a marketing major, it applies as an elective. And so we have this course as a 3-credit in person and a 1-credit online. And we offer the 3-credit all throughout the semester. The 1-credit is a 4-week short course at the end of the semester. So that's how we do it. And, it's tuition. They have to pay tuition to get into the course, but anyone is eligible to get in. There aren't any prerequisites, meaning that you don't have to be in the business school or whatever that might be. We've got students from lots and lots of colleges that have joined into this course. Okay, so we feel that what we're doing for our student athletes as it relates to NIL, creating graphics, and we do all of that in the brand squad, which is a group of students that have been trained. We do logos for student athletes. We do help them put together merchandise. We do all of that, but we are supporting the student athlete and the students. We are not being guided by our athletic department, and we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so more on involvement. This is the 3rd section of the compliance guidance. Coaches and other staff can assist with fundraising activities through appearances by providing autographed memorabilia. They can't donate cash. It just says that people that are in the athletic department can actually be involved with outside NIL entities and with the collective and with things like that. They cannot partake in it to a certain degree, but they can be involved in that. And in my position, I'm not in the athletic department. I'm a professor in the business school. So we find that there is already that separation, and we're doing things that aren't necessarily for one student athlete, but we're doing things that are across the board for a lot of student athletes. And a business can say, hey, we're interested in XYZ student athlete. We are not going out and pitching one student athlete. We are pitching that you can do this now, that this is a great marketing opportunity for businesses. So this is a bit of a change. And I think that some universities have had to look at this and say, okay, so how are we doing this? Does this give us a little bit of leeway? And it does. Coaches and other staff can be involved in activities. And I think that's good, because it would be hard to say that they couldn't. And then finally, individuals or NIL entities representing athletics, such as third-party right holders, cannot represent enrolled athletes for NIL deals. So that's, for instance, let's say that athletics goes into a contract with a firm, and athletics is paying that firm money to represent them, the athletic department. If that entity that the athletic department is paying is now going out and getting deals for student athletes, that's where there's some issues. We do not have that particular issue because the brand squad, which I'll talk about in a second, is separate from the athletic department. We do not take money from the athletic department, and we are not directed by the athletic department. And I think it's the exchange of money that's the delineation here. So that's an important thing to note. So a little bit about the brand squad, and then we can answer any questions about some of this. And I'd love to hear what others are doing at their universities and how you guys are handling this new guidance, if you will. So one of the things that we started way in the beginning, and some of you already know about this, is we have something called the brand squad. So what's the brand squad? The brand squad is a group of top marketing and lots of sports management students at Oklahoma State who've been trained and certified, meaning they've taken my class, either the 1-credit or the 3-credit. They've taken compliance exams inside of our learning management system to make sure that they understand the rules and the guidelines, what they can do, what they can't do. And from there, we then match them with student athletes to help them get their brand ready, to help them clean up their social media, to help them do all the things that they need. Now, when we look back at the guidance, we go, can we still do that? And the answer, according to, as long as we're supporting all students, not just our student athletes, we can absolutely do that. And so since we've already been supporting non-student athletes, we feel like we are in a really good place. We have had incredible success with the Brand Squad, with being able to go out into the community and let businesses know, hey, you can engage with our equestrian team. You can engage with, certain players from all of our teams. And we've been especially successful with some of our female student athletes. The football team, they get deals coming to them. But a lot of our female student athletes and other quote unquote non-revenue sports, they don't have that same opportunity. And so the Brand Squad, we're out there talking about this. And we also do other activities as well. So for instance, here's our membership structure. I wanted to do this because I get a lot of questions about what is the structure of the Brand Squad? Like, how do you do this? And it's basically kind of like an agency that is not directed by the athletic department, that is not paid by anyone at the university. So even though we're a club on campus, we keep our distance because there's no monetary exchange and they're not telling us what to do. And we know the rules and we're abiding by them. So it seems to work out. So we've got an academic advisor, which is me. And then we've got a president, executive administrator, and then we have executives. But then we also have general managers. There's a lot of work in the Brand Squad, and I can't do it all. So we have all these great people who we've trained through the courseware at Stu Kent to be ready to do some of these things for our student athletes. So we raise money for the Brand Squad itself so that we can pay scholarships for the students that are taking the courses, Brand Squad students that are taking those courses. We don't want them to have to use their tuition money. So we have scholarships available. And we also, we'll go out and find deals and opportunities, not for a specific athlete, but find deals and opportunities. For instance, we just went to a local restaurant that just came into Stillwater, Oklahoma. And we went there, myself and a Brand Squad member, and we went there and said, hey, what about you start your own team? One student athlete from every single team. You can choose student athletes. It's up to you. But then you can accumulate and you'll have 100,000 followers or 100,000 reach of followers that these student athletes have that now can do some promotion. And then you can give them some remuneration. And we don't do any negotiation on the deals or anything like that. We're not lawyers. We don't negotiate, but we do present opportunities and then allow the businesses and their attorneys and the student athletes to go, yeah, I'd like to do this. We had another opportunity where there was a restaurant that also sells alcohol. And I think just about every restaurant sells alcohol. But the one student athlete that was asked to participate said that she didn't want to do it because there was alcohol being sold at that restaurant. And so that's fine. They get the chance to say, no, they don't want to do it, or yeah, they want to do it, whatever the case is. But it's kind of a neat way of being able to not negotiate, but present opportunities and educate the community in some of this. All right, I'm going to look at some of the questions here. Did you open up the Brand Squad to students after the updated guidance? So this is Alexander's question. The answer is it already has been. We fell into it already because we had others that have asked us to do it. We've helped people in the band. We've helped cheer and pom, which are not specifically in the athletic department. And we've helped individual students who have things that they want to do that we can help them with, like start their own merchandise line. So, and take pictures for Instagram. We have a woman who, female student at Oklahoma State, who wants to be an influencer, and she needed help with photography. Well, we've trained some of our students at the Brand Squad to do photography. So we pair them up with her, and she's able to do that. Okay, so let me go back. Any more questions? So has anyone set up the course as a university-wide cross-listed course like we do with freshmen in AIS? So the answer is right now, the way that we have our course listed, and I don't really know all the ins and outs of universities, but I know that anyone in the university, no matter what their major, can take the class that we have in either the 1 credit or the 3 credit version. There aren't any prerequisites. Anyone can take the course as an elective. So that hopefully that answers that question. If not, please reiterate so I answer for the proper question. Related to the above point, the Brand Squad seemed very student athlete forward. Yes, the Brand Squad is very student athlete forward. We created it for student athletes. It's, name, image, and likeness is in our description. But what we found, and what I found in teaching the course, personal branding, name, image, and likeness, is that everybody has a name and an image and a likeness. And if they want to sell it like an influencer, they can do that. I mean, there's influencers. We have a woman that's probably going to make 6 figures as an influencer, not a student athlete at Oklahoma State. So there's lots of other ways to help others. We just have to put the word out in the appropriate way and not say that the Brand Squad is exclusively for student athletes, which I believe we may have used to say, even though we had others that weren't student athletes. So we've really tried to get more specific on that. Let's see. Is anyone on the Brand Squad a season ticket holder or former student athlete? So I would say that everyone in the Brand Squad, the Brand Squad members that have been trained in all of that, we have a package where every student can get a season ticket for every single sport. And most of our students in the Brand Squad, I would say probably all of them, have that season pass for all of our athletic events. So I hope that's the question that you're asking, but that's the answer to that. And what kind of certification are you providing? The certification is actually part of the Stu Kent course. We have something in our learning management system that's really compliance oriented, that's based on the Oklahoma State athletic department legal guidance. So we use their legal guidance to do our internal exam to make sure that our students in the Brand Squad understand what the rules are as interpreted by Oklahoma State. But as for the personal branding, we have a certification there, and that is through Stu Kent. And after you take the course, you have the opportunity to take the certification, and you get a certification that says, hey, listen, I passed the 80 questions that allows me to say that I'm certified in personal branding. I understand it. And we also have one for compliance, more of the general rules of compliance, and that's also available through Stu Kent. Okay, let's see. Do we coordinate with the athletic department to ensure that sponsorship deals with athletics departments aren't in conflict with athlete deals? Yes. Well, we do. If there's a deal, if there's a contract, the student athlete and the Brand Squad helps facilitate this. The student athlete is supposed to upload that contract into Influencer to let the athletic department know what it is. So for instance, we're a Nike school. We can't, the student athlete couldn't take a deal from Adidas or something like that. And I think that's what you're probably getting to. But those are very clear rules. And that's part of our compliance certification that we have, because we've got certain rules. You cannot do this. You cannot, like a bar, not a restaurant, but a bar that just sells alcohol cannot sponsor a student athlete. The student athletes know that, but we make sure that we are helping to stay within those guidelines. Is this a membership structure for students? Yeah, so the Brand Squad is a member organization, and students to get into the Brand Squad need to fill out an application and go through a pretty rigorous interview process. So we want to make sure that they really understand what they're getting into. They're probably going to spend 10 to 15 hours a week on this. Do they really have the time? Do they have any previous knowledge of these sorts of things? And we get a lot of applications for the Brand Squad, 200 applications. So we will probably by the end or by the beginning of the spring semester, we'll probably have 150 members of the Brand Squad. But they all go through an interview process, which is daunting task, but we have to do it. And the Brand Squad, is it all students? Yeah, the Brand Squad is any student that wants to. I mean, it's mostly marketing students and sports management students, because those are the students that I'm teaching and I see on a regular basis. And so they know about it. But we also have people from the journalism school, from the design school. They design our logos. we've got students from all over that might be interested in something like this. Okay, so yes, it is a student organization on campus. It is an affiliated student organization. But again, we're not directed by the athletic department, and we don't take money from anybody within the university, only from outside of the university. And that's why we've got a whole fundraising arm where we will raise money for the Brand Squad and the Brand Squad scholarships. Connect for NIL training certification and career options. Okay. Yeah, so there's a connection for NIL training certification and career options. One of the things that we really feel strongly about at Oklahoma State, and the reason that I wrote the courseware, is because we needed to have some academic rigor to a course that we're going to teach at a university. And there were a lot of training programs out there, and there's lots of stuff out there. And so just make sure you're evaluating it if you're going to put it in front of your students, that it has some academic rigor. I don't mean that it has to be super rigorous, but it has to have some academic rigor. We have to start with theory and then go on to the concepts. So I think that it's important to note that, which is why we have this courseware here with Stu Kent. And by the way, we update the courseware on a regular basis. And every year we update the courseware, and even in between the year, if there's a guidance that came out from the NCAA that have impacted our courseware, we would update it immediately. Are the members of the Brand Squad compensated like a paid internship, or is it volunteer oriented like to be a member? Yeah. So we do not pay our the students in the Brand Squad. Eventually, if we got a sponsor, we might. I mean, it's better than any internship that they would ever have. So they actually should be able to count that as an internship. Then they'd have to go officially through the school and do that kind of stuff. But I'll give you an example of how great an internship the Brand Squad is. We have a student that is graduating in December. She has 6 job offers from Division I and pro football teams right now. And her hardest thing is to figure out which one she's going to take. And so, why is that happening? Because she's actually trained on the ground in all of the things that they want in those other areas, whether it's a Division I school in the athletic department, whether it's being an NIL director or assistant director, or whether it's really focusing on doing social media and things like that for a pro team. All of those things, these students are getting on the ground training for doing this. It's better than any internship. And they don't actually, up to this point, knock on wood, they don't really care that they're not getting paid. They love it. We have a weekly Brand Squad meeting where the students mandatory have to come to every meeting. Why? Because we train, and we have a 1-hour meeting every Tuesday night. We train, we bring in speakers that after we bring in those speakers, they almost always want to hire our people. So this is, it's a great internship. So thank you for mentioning internship, because I didn't really say that. It is like an internship, but it's not paid. They're not paid. No one's paid. I'm not paid, but it is the most awesome thing that I've done in my career. That is by far. Do the Brand Squad students receive commission from the students they work with? No, there was no money exchange with the Brand Squad. So if student athlete that we work with just got a $10,000 deal, the student that worked on that deal, just helping make sure that they're actually activating and the deal's going all the way through, that student is not getting paid a dime. And there was never any implication that they would get paid. This is something that we're doing on behalf of our student athletes. So it doesn't count as an internship, but we may have it count as academic credit as an internship moving forward. But again, we're trying to get enough scholarships so we can get this thing so that the students, number one, don't have to pay. We don't have enough for every single student right now that doesn't have to pay for their tuition for the training courses. But the training courses are they're serious courses. It's a regular course that you take in college, and it's significant. So it doesn't count as an internship, but eventually it may. And like I said, it's better than an internship, except for the fact that they're not getting credit for it, which is an important thing. And if we can work that out, we will. I would say we're probably a year out from making that happen. Okay, So a little bit more about the brand squad, and then we'll see if anyone has any more questions. So we have a website. If you want to check out what we're doing with the brand squad, and I tell you what, I breathed the biggest sigh of relief when we saw this guidance, and I thought, okay, we're good. We can still do this club on campus that has more members than any other club on campus besides our esports club. So it's really, I needed this to continue to work for all of my students who would be so devastated. But anyways, it's all good. So brandsquad-osu.com, you can check out what we're doing at Oklahoma State. We do signing events where we bring in our student athletes, and outside of the business school, we'll have signing events where anyone from the community can come and meet our student athletes. We've got student athletes from every sport that will participate in our signing events. They're awesome. And we do logos and images. We've got, like I said, we've got people from the Fashion and Design School that will be Brand Squad members, that are Brand Squad members, that help us with some of these things. We've got a podcast that we do. So the students are learning how to do a podcast, and the podcast gets thousands of downloads. Who do we interview? Our student athletes. And it's pretty amazing. But you can find out all of that. You can just sort of take a look at our website and see what's kind of happening there. If anyone's interested in starting their own brand squad, you can go to brandsquad-training.com. I've put together a bunch of videos. There's some free resources and some paid resources, but they're there if you are interested in starting your own brand squad. So that is it. That is, I just wanted to go through the guidance because I was getting so many questions, and I thought everyone wants to know what everybody else is doing. And I'm not offering any great legal insight into how we're interpreting these things. I only know it from being an educator who has a course called Name, Image, and Likeness, Personal Branding, and also someone who is, working with our students to help our student athletes and all of our students as a part of the brand squad. So I would love to answer any more questions if anyone has them, but I think we've taken a pretty straightforward look at all of this. Okay, so Carrie's got a question. With new NCAA NIL guidelines, is there an issue for third-party companies under contract agreement and compensated by athletics when they hire or staff salespeople to sell, negotiate? Yes, the way that our athletic department reads that's in violation. There's a specific clause that talks about, let me go back to it, that talks about third parties. And so it would have to be that they weren't directing the deal. They could educate and promote things, but actually negotiating that deal while you're paid by the athletic department, to our athletic department, and to me, it sounds like that's something that needs to be tweaked or changed a little bit. And I know there are some universities that have in-house agencies, and I don't know how that works. We're not an in-house agency at the athletic department, so we feel like we are good, but it's a constant battle, as you know, to figure out what do they actually mean by this. And we just try not to have any gray area at Oklahoma State, but I'd love to hear about, if any of you, even offline, if you want to just share with me what you guys are thinking about, that would be great. I'm going to put my email address up here if anyone wants to reach out directly to me.
Yeah, while you're doing that, Maribeth, Johnny just asked a question that I can answer real quick. So, are you going to share these slides with us after the virtual call? That'd be a yes, we will. I'll send out an email shortly after the webinar, either today or tomorrow morning, to kind of recap everything and send out all the resources and everything to you all. So even if you have to hop off or you are on this and missed it, I'll send it out to anyone who registered. So just to let you know.
Yep. Any other questions from anyone? Well, please reach out. Oh, you know what? We also have on LinkedIn, we have do you have that link, Chad? I have a group, a private group on LinkedIn of educators that teach NIL related courses. You don't have to teach my course. You could teach any course. But we've got a private group there. So if anyone is interested in that, I think, Chad, you're going to pull that up.
Yeah, I'm going to go and find it.
Otherwise, I can pull it up. it's not an easy thing. LinkedIn doesn't allow you to have like the greatest.
Here it is.
You got it.
NIL educators community.
Yeah.
And here we go. Boom.
Okay. Yeah. And apply or just put in a request and then I will approve it. And I only approve educators. So if you're not an educator, it's not really for you. I've had a lot of student athletes that have wanted to get into the group, but it's really just for educators. It's really for people that are teaching courses at universities related to NIL.
That's one question maybe I have for everyone is your university looking for an NIL education, course? Are they leaning towards that in the future, or are you advocating for that? If anyone wants to reply in the chat, that'd be awesome. I'd be curious to know kind of where everyone's university is at with regards to the NIL education. Also, if you have any other questions, feel free to chat those in. We got a few more minutes if we need to. So,
and if not, then that's fine.
And if not, then hey, we can end early.
More time to go get some lunch. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give
not for you.
Yeah. Give a little moment. Oh, here we go. So Johnny, we have a university course next semester via the student platform. Awesome. I'll actually be taking the course as a member of our athletic department to better educate myself and understand what our students are taking and learning. Oh, awesome. So you're going to kind of tag along with them and see what it's all about. That's great. Let us know how it goes for you, because I know Maribeth and I will be curious to see, what takeaways you have from the course, what you liked, what you didn't like, what we can improve on. So let us know.
Yeah, since we update it all the time, we'd love to hear about that.
Ooh.
So here's the question is, have you thought about expanding the educational offerings to cover legal, finance, entrepreneurship? And we, Stucant might be. At Oklahoma State, we have taught some finance courses and some other, I haven't, but there's been others that have, specifically related to, personal finance type classes and taxes and things like that. Not very popular classes, to be honest with you, at this point, unless they're classes where the athletic academic advisor says you have to take this class. And that hasn't been the case yet. So, but for some reason they take my class, which is a cross between personal branding and entrepreneurship.
Yeah, Carrie, maybe I'm not fully understanding, but are you asking to expand the coverage related to NIL specifically, or just, cover? Okay. So yeah, NIL focused. So, from a StuCamp perspective, I'll kind of speak on that. We are kind of testing the waters with personal branding first, NIL personal branding, and, seeing what the demand is for other topics like legal, finance, etc. So, I will say I don't think it's necessarily on the roadmap right now, but as we see fit, we are always coming out with new courseware and products. So it's definitely a possibility in the future. So non-NIL related, we do have finance courseware. We have entrepreneurship courseware. So if you want it non-NIL focused, we got that covered. Not legal though. We don't have legal stuff. So yeah. Great. Well, I think that seems like it's about wrapping up from everyone. This has been great, Maribeth. I appreciate you answered a lot of questions. There's a ton of questions that came in today, which is great. Hopefully we were able to help everyone out in answering those. So thank you all for being here. Maribeth, thanks so much for, informing us on everything that you're doing and staying up to date on everything. It's awesome. So we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, we will be sending you an email here shortly, following up on all this, and stay tuned for, Red, one last question, snuck it in there. So the bundle is going to be $129.99, I believe. We
I thought it
actually,
was 119.
yeah, we just raised prices.
Oh,
So
okay.
just went up. So, and I could be wrong. That could start next semester. Obviously, because if anyone has a course starting this semester, it's probably going to be 119. But next semester, look for that to be 129.99. So,
Got it.
okay, yeah.
Thank
Sorry to break that to you, Maribeth. So it's news to everyone. So anyway, thank you everyone for being here, and be on the lookout for that follow-up email. Thank you, Maribeth.
Bye.
See ya.